Today, we've got a new patch that resolves 10 bugs in total for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Not only that, but they've also made adjustments to Dragonroaches and fixed an issue client size with the Rupture strain for Terminates. We also have news about the Gloom, plus there's a lot more to cover. If you have enjoyed my content in the past, consider supporting the channel by tapping the thumbs up button below the video. I'd appreciate that a lot. So let's jump right in. We're starting with the Dragonroach adjustments. If you didn't know, before this patch, we couldn't inflict fire or gas damage on Dragonroaches. They've now made it possible to inflict both of those elements, which is great news. However, if you're like me, you're probably wondering why they didn't make it so the Dragonroach could be defeated by targeting its wings. We don't have an answer for that, but if I had to guess, I'd say they're still planning to make changes to the Dragonroach, and they're likely not done with this particular enemy just yet. So if I hear any news from the Arrowhead team, whether it's from the community managers, the higher-ups, or the QA lead, I'll be sure to inform you in a future video. Now, before we continue, I'd like to know your thoughts on this change. Is it good or bad? Also, what changes were you looking forward to? Anyway, with that being said, there's another adjustment here, or more so, it's a fix. The developers have successfully resolved a problem with the Rupture Warriors. They've stated that the Rupture Warriors now accurately track moving clients, balancing the difficulty of attacks between client and host. I know the vast majority of you Helldivers out there noticed some wonky things with the Rupture Warriors in the past, and this change is also great. When you log in and play, you should notice a big difference, especially if you're the host. So with that said, if you've been experiencing problems trying to force these suckers out of the ground, specifically the Rupture Warriors, I'll have an amazing video guide pinned in the comments where I tested a ton of weapons and stratagems, and in that video I tell you which ones are the best. I recommend watching that video after you're done with this one. Moving along, we're now going to go over all the fixes, which include some solid bug fixes. The first one on the list is a reported issue I've seen just about everywhere, including in the comments on previous videos. The developers have resolved a bug where if you were reinforced, you would end up spawning on top of cave structures. This bug fix is a huge one, considering how many of you were frustrated about it, and I'm sure after hearing this, you're probably excited that they've finally resolved it. Not only have they patched that problem, but they've also tackled a few game crashing issues. For example, there was a crash if you were playing on cave maps, and a player got wrecked, or if the host migrated, which would force the game to close, aka crash. These have since been resolved. Additionally, they fixed an issue with the oil rig mission. I haven't personally experienced this one, but if your oil rig was destroyed while the Pelican was on its way to pick it up, that would also cause the game to crash. Both of these issues have been completely patched. But wait, there's more. We have a few more game crash fixes. The next one involved a game crash if you joined a host or a game where any of the players were using bombardment stratagems, which would freeze up the game and ultimately crash it. They also fixed another issue where the game would close automatically just by starting up. Those are all the game crashes mentioned in the patch notes. Now, I have to say it's interesting to read about all these examples where Helldivers 2 would close because of a particular issue. I don't believe this will be the last time we'll experience the game crashing randomly, nor do I think this will be the last time we'll hear about crash fixes in the patch notes. To be fair, Helldivers 2 is likely to have several more of these instances in the future, and I'm not bashing the game by any means, I'm just being honest with you that this won't be the last time. If you look at previous patch notes, you can clearly see a common theme with how many times the developers have mentioned resolving game crashes. So, for sure, it won't be the last time we hear about it. Next up, we have a fix for audio problems in caves. The Arrowhead developers have rebalanced the audio levels in caves. I've seen several reported issues online about this specific bug, and it's great to know they listened to the community. Otherwise, I think if they hadn't resolved the audio problems and the bugs we just covered, it would have been a tough time for Helldivers 2 and players. He also noted at the bottom of the patch notes that they fixed 2 more audio problems. Specifically, they corrected a rare instance where primary weapon audio would cut out or go missing, and patched an audio bug related to Devastator's projectiles. Nevertheless, we have more to cover. The next two bugs are specific to Xbox. For you Xbox divers out there, they've adjusted the SDR colors so they no longer appear faded, and they fixed a bug where players couldn't access the Helldivers user profile on several screens. That's pretty much all they had to say about Xbox divers, and those are all of the notes in the patch notes. Continuing along, since we just went over the patch notes together, I think it's worth mentioning that the SEAF troopers and Helldivers are experiencing a bug lately. It's not a major issue, but it's something worth pointing out. If you haven't noticed, when either a SEAF trooper or Helldiver is defeated, a strange yellow liquid disperses from their bodies. For example, we can see this SEAF trooper start spewing yellow liquid, and it's the same for Helldivers too. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Perhaps the developers accidentally applied the same blood effect to us and the SEAF troopers as they did to the Terminates. So we've essentially got Terminated blood. Nevertheless, I thought that was interesting, and shout out to Ninja Strike for telling me about it and testing it out. We're now going to go over some news regarding Cyberstan. There's a report from a fellow Helldiver on the Helldivers subreddit page where this person claimed there's been activity on Cyberstan, and surprisingly there has been some. They claimed the bullet count went up, as well as the automaton eliminations. If we check out this particular planet by going over to the Helldivers Companion app site, we can inspect it further, and it for sure looks like someone has been causing havoc on this planet. Now, is it a developer or someone at Arrowhead who's testing things out? Perhaps that's the case, or this could mean there's a player on PC who has modified the files so they can land on Cyberstan. Either way, we could tell someone is doing something there. I thought this was intriguing, and if you didn't know, now you know. If you have any ideas, any clues as to what's going on here, let me know. Do you think there's new content coming for Cyberstan or for the automaton side? Tell me what you think in the comments below by posting a response. Speaking of the galactic map, we recently won the latest major order, which is good of course. However, what's not so good is that the right side has been compromised. Somehow the Terminates managed to spread the Gloom further, and it has completely covered Overgo Prime, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is now shrouded in the Gloom. If this continues, we could very well see the entire right side covered, and that wouldn't be the most favorable outcome, right? In the latest dispatch, High Command is confident that we're going to destroy the Hive Worlds, as you can see at the bottom here. They also mentioned that while our super destroyers are protected against the Gloom, the planets inside the thick yellow mist will be harder to re-liberate and will become more difficult as time goes on. Overall, this is starting to look like a tough battle that we're going to have to participate in, and are we going to stop the Gloom? If so, how the hell are we going to do it? Are we going to use the wormhole to suck up all of the mist, all of the Gloom into it? Maybe. I mean, we do have E711, which is dark fluid, so we could potentially use it to manipulate and move the wormhole in that area and maybe suck it all up. But then again, we still have to worry about so much more than that, and on top of that, if you recall, High Command, or rather Super Earth, the government there, wants us to continue collecting E711, and the only way to do that is to keep those Hive Worlds active. So, I'm not sure how this is going to end. If you have any ideas, let me know. Finally, for today's news, we're going to go over a cool trick with the Draw emote. If you have this emote, which can be purchased in the Superstore, you can use it to switch to your secondary super fast, essentially mimicking the Gunslinger passive. For example, I'll fire a few rounds and then switch to my secondary by tapping the key to use the emote. You can see how quickly I can switch to my secondary. This works on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Now, the reason I say it's similar to the Gunslinger passive is that, if you recall, there's a specific stat that allows you to draw your weapons quickly. And that's exactly what this emote enables you to do. It's an incredible trick that I think you'll find useful and worth trying. For comparison, if you want to know how fast it takes to switch normally without the emote, this is how quick it is without the emote. so it's definitely worth using on the battlefield, and I hope you found it super useful. And if you didn't know about this either, then yeah, there you go. It's definitely a cool trick. Anywho, I'd like to quickly say that I'm hosting another Helldivers 2 Xbox key giveaway. The reason is that the previous winner didn't message me on Discord. So if you win and your username is called out in the next video, please message me on my Discord. You know, I've got the link below. Otherwise, I'll have to host the giveaway again and someone else will win it instead of you. This time, to enter the giveaway and have a chance to win, all you need to do is comment below. Tell me what you think about Helldivers 2, and make sure to state that you're entering the giveaway. Alrighty, let's now go over the top 3 comments. We first have a comment by Trouthammer that thought he was going insane about their reloading. So yeah, you're not going insane, buddy. There's obviously some issues there. I tested it out in my previous video. So yeah, you're not going insane. There's definitely a bug, and apparently it's been around for a while, so yeah, it's reemerged. The second top comment is by Neil Anderson 7777 that talked about how all consoles, all platforms need a smooth 60 FPS experience, and I agree. I think everybody would agree with you. The last and final top comment is by Spartan in Virginia that talked about how Arrowhead needs to just relax for a few on the new content and get to bug fixes, and I absolutely agree with that as well. Thankfully, they have resolved quite a few bugs in the recent patch, but we know there's a ton more issues out there. So there you go, those are the top 3 comments. If you found today's video helpful, consider tapping the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and all that great stuff. Anyways, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.